She was young, brilliant, full of life. And one ordinary Thursday afternoon, she vanished, leaving behind a mystery so dark it would shake Australia to its core. You're watching Dark Evidence, where truth is darker than fiction. Subscribe now and step with us into the shadows. Her name was Meng Mei Long, but in Australia, everyone called her Michelle. A 25-year-old student from Chengdu, China, an only child with a smile that could light up a room. After losing her father in 2008, her mother Mei became her whole world. Her mother described her as someone with deep compassion, who always cared for everyone else, even when she was struggling herself. In 2011, Michelle made the brave decision to move to Sydney, Australia, to study business. Her mother sold almost everything she owned to help her chase that dream. Michelle moved in with her aunt, uncle, and cousin in Campsie, a quiet suburb in New South Wales. She studied hard, sending every spare dollar she earned back home. She graduated with a business degree from the University of Technology, Sydney, and then pursued a diploma in interpreting and translation. Michelle had friends, a future, and big dreams, until April 21st, 2016. That Thursday afternoon, she met friends near the university, smiling, laughing, carefree. They waved goodbye as she boarded a bus to Pitt Street Mall for some shopping. CCTV captured her browsing stores, buying a juice, and heading toward St. James Station. At 4:30 p.m., she boarded a train to Campsie, her last known location. Hours passed, then days. Her phone went silent. Her social media, always active, went completely dark. Friends grew worried, but when her aunt returned from a weekend trip, she realized Michelle was gone. Her bed was made, her bag neatly placed by the desk, her phone untouched. She had vanished without a trace. Police were called immediately. No forced entry, no struggle, nothing stolen. It was as if Michelle had been erased from existence. If you're watching this now, take a moment, subscribe to Dark Evidence, because what police discovered next would turn a missing person case into a story of pure horror. 4 days later, 60 miles away, a tourist walking near the cliffs of Snapper Point Blowhole saw something floating below in the churning waves. At first, they thought it was debris, but as the waves rolled, they realized it was human. Emergency crews were called. Paramedics were lowered by helicopter into the icy water. What they pulled out was the body of a young woman, naked, pale, and covered in stab wounds. She had been stabbed nearly 40 times, the fatal wound, a deep slash across the throat. Defensive injuries covered her hands and arms. She had fought hard. Detectives quickly ruled out an accident. The currents couldn't have carried her there without injuries from the rocks. She hadn't fallen. She had been placed there. The media named her the Snapper Point Jane Doe. But 2 days later, DNA confirmed the unthinkable. The body belonged to Michelle Lang, the same young woman who had left the university smiling and chatting with her friends, now found dead in the sea, brutally murdered. Investigators raced to find out what had happened. They interviewed friends, classmates, and relatives. Everyone said the same thing. Michelle was happy, focused, kind. She had no enemies. But a single clue would lead police straight to a suspect, and what they found in his phone would horrify even veteran detectives. Don't forget to subscribe to Dark Evidence. What you're about to hear is disturbing and very real.
Investigators traced a car seen near the cliffs hours before the discovery. It was registered to someone very close to Michelle. Her uncle, Derek Barrett, the same man who helped to report her missing. Police obtained a search warrant for the home where Michelle had lived. Inside, they found Derek's phone. What they uncovered changed the investigation instantly. Dozens of photos of Michelle, bound, gagged, on her own bed. Her face frozen in terror, duct tape across her mouth. The images were so disturbing that officers said they would never forget them. Derek Barrett, 27 years old, unemployed, and married to Michelle's aunt, had been living under the same roof as his victim. Outwardly quiet, polite, but beneath that calm exterior hid something monstrous. Police believe Derek attacked Michelle as soon as she returned home that day. He restrained her, gagged her, and sexually assaulted her. For hours, possibly days, she was held captive in her own room. While she was still alive, her cousin came home, completely unaware that Michelle was tied up, terrified, just meters away. At some point between Thursday evening and Sunday morning, Derek stabbed her to death. 40 wounds. Pure rage. He then wrapped her in plastic, drove her to Snapper Point, and threw her body into the sea. The same place she had once joyfully posted about on Instagram years earlier. A place she loved, turned into her grave. In court, her mother said, she trusted him, she lived with him, and he took everything from her. But even with Derek in custody, the darkness surrounding this case was far from over.
Derek Barrett was charged with murder and 27 other offenses, including indecent assault and false imprisonment. He pleaded not guilty at first, claiming drug-induced memory loss. He said he didn't remember killing her. He said he was addicted to meth and synthetic cannabis. But the court didn't believe him. The judge called his remorse an act, a performance. 18 months later, in December 2017, Derek finally confessed. He admitted to tying, assaulting, and murdering Michelle. He was sentenced to 46 years in prison, with a minimum of 34 before parole. For Michelle's mother, justice came, but peace never did. Then, 3 years later, something even darker surfaced. In 2019, an elderly woman found a USB drive in her home, heavy-duty, weatherproof, and labeled with nothing. Her daughter plugged it into a computer. What she saw made her call police immediately. The USB contained over an hour of video and multiple photos. It showed Derek filming himself raping and torturing Michelle during her captivity. Her hands were tied so tightly they were swollen and purple. In one clip, he cut the tape with a hunting knife and said, "Now, where were we?" before continuing the assault. There were also videos of Michelle and Derek's stepdaughter sleeping, filmed secretly, months before the murder. Police confirmed the footage matched deleted files from Derek's phone. The elderly woman who found the USB had no connection to him. She just happened to live near his former address. No one knows how it got there. The discovery led to 17 new charges, including multiple counts of sexual assault. But because Derek was already serving his 46-year sentence, the new crimes were added concurrently. The judge stated that had this evidence been found earlier, Derek Barrett would have been sentenced to life in prison without parole. Michelle's mother fainted upon hearing about the videos. Days later, her health collapsed from grief. In her final statement, she said, "I can't accept that my daughter is gone. My life ended with hers." Today, Derek Barrett remains in prison. aging, forgotten, and feared even among other inmates. But for those who knew Michelle Lang, time has not healed anything. She came to Australia chasing a dream and met death in the one place she should have been safest, home. Her story became a national tragedy, a warning that evil can hide in familiar faces. It isn't always the stranger in the dark. Sometimes it's the person sitting at your dinner table. Michelle's mother once said, "The time will never turn back to when Mangmi and I lived happily together. Now that my child is gone, my life is shattered." If this story reached you, honor her memory and help us keep telling the truth behind the world's darkest cases. Subscribe to Dark Evidence, where we uncover what others are too afraid to tell, because the shadows always hide something.